Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
We are here with our new edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. Today is day 51, and let's make it pretty clear. Like, today is a very interesting one because it felt like we spent the majority of it sort of climbing up the roller coaster, and over the
Mhm.
past hour or so, it feels like everything is dropping. There's suddenly game talk, like, all over the place.
Absolutely. And we're here to break it all down.
Yeah, there's so much to get into here, like voting scenarios.
Mhm.
Like, could Rachel actually be campaigning for Kelley to stay of all things?
So weird, but that could be a thing that is happening.
Yeah, we've got that, the latest in the Keanu Rachel soap opera. Also, this idea of Blockbuster sabotage that we're going to get into here.
Yeah, which is something I never thought that we would really be diving into this season, but we are here. This discussion, it is happening.
All right, well, before we do make any of these discussions happen, be sure to hit that subscribe button because, yeah, we are going to be here with more Big Brother 27 live feed coverage all season long. Every day, we're here breaking things down, chatting with you guys. And in addition to that, we're very much gearing up for Survivor 49, premiering next month. The amazing race featuring Big Brother house guests and their loved ones also is going to be a really, really great time. And we love talking about that show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. It really helps us here at the channel hitting that subscribe button. So thank you so much. And if you do want to talk to us further about Big Brother, you can head over to our Patreon. We're having more discussions there, polls, all kinds of fun stuff. And I'll leave a link for you below.
Thank you guys so much for your support. Like, that does mean so much to us.
Blockbuster sabotage. Let's talk about it
Yeah.
because we are in this position right now where Ava and Katherine have talked and they're just like, okay, we recognize that so long as one of us wins this blockbuster, the other person will be safe going up against Kelley. Kelley will just go home.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that we win, or more so, maybe we have to make sure that she loses. And they sort of have this like kind of a ha-ha discussion about like maybe we should sabotage it, but that's always how these discussions kind of start, right? With like a let's test the water. How would you feel about sabotage? Joke, but not really.
I just want to say from the start, this is hilarious. I would love it so much.
So exciting.
You know, if this actually happened and we're in the midst of the blockbuster, and I don't know, either Ava or Katherine just like starts making funny faces at Kelley halfway through, trying to like trigger some sort of distraction so she can't focus.
Listen, we've seen similar sort of stuff where we've seen somebody like find the right piece and then find another right piece and then fling it into a bush so somebody else can't get to it in time. I mean, there has been stuff like this before.
Do I think it's really going to happen? Okay, here's the thing. It would require Ava or Katherine having like a Herculean amount of guts, which I'm not sure either one of them actually does in the middle of a live show.
And the other thing is they don't know at this point what it's going to end up being, right? You walk in, you get to see it at the same time, everybody else gets to see it. So at that point, then you guys have to be figuring out how to sabotage something like this because you're all seeing it fresh.
Yeah, I just think what's interesting the most about all of this is that they have this much confidence that it's like, okay, Kelley's probably going to go as long as she doesn't win the blockbuster, which I think is probably true, but we'll get into some stuff a little bit later on in this video because there is this other outcome that is, what if they do try to do something like this to sabotage Kelley, and then they do that, Kelley ends up staying, the other person goes, and then this just ends up being one of the most colossal faux pas of all time.
Really, they just need to focus on getting it done themselves. And
Yes.
and also if there is a situation where it's like, okay, maybe I know I can't get there, but I see that Katherine is getting there, Kelley's also getting there, maybe I'll just start helping Katherine.
Which is also really funny. It's just, see, this is the thing. What we want here is entertainment, right? It's like, this would be so much entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, this doesn't seem like it's a serious conversation, but I always think that when people are floating ideas that might make somebody else a little bit uncomfortable, it's because they are testing the waters to see if the other person is into it or not.
Yeah.
And if the other person's like, oh, ha, but kind of good idea, it might be revisited later.
Yeah, it's one of these things with Blockbuster still kind of new, and I do think over time we're gonna see people talk a little bit more about like how should we play this? Are there
Right.
any other strategies? Like, the biggest thing I want to see from Ava and Catherine at this point is how about trying to influence people to make sure that you have the votes to stay? Like, how about trying to campaign a little bit more? Because the eviction's like 24 hours away from when we're recording, and it's like they've only just started the talk.
And the thing is now that Ava, Catherine, Lauren, spoke about this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yesterday. They've had conversations of kind of like, hey, let me pull you guys in. Ava's trying to make something work there. It makes sense then that her and Catherine are like, okay, how do we ensure that we both stay? We just like kind of made this bit of an alliance here with Lauren. How do we make sure we both stay? Kelley has to not win.
Yeah, there is definitely something brewing here with these women, in particular Ava and Catherine at this point, just
Mhm.
because like they did talk for so long today and they were pretty open about certain things, like including that they don't have much respect for Vince as a head of household and his decisions this week. And yeah, I know it's easy to sit here and be like, okay, they just have sour grapes, but they were kind of talking in general about how he has a sad resume. And I think this probably goes back to the way that he's played, which has been effective for a lot of people. But,
Mhm.
for a couple other people, it is very much like, okay, you're too cowardly. You keep blaming other people for what you're doing. You don't have a backbone.
But there's a lot of people that have played the game like this and have won, like
Yes.
Nicole Franzel, that have just sort of gone through it, blaming everybody else, being like, I don't know, but you do know. And she knew, he knows. And it bothers me because like I'm not here being like I'm a Vince fan. I think he's playing the best game. Is it a game that I am enjoying watching? No, I don't like seeing anybody sad sack their way through. It's the same with Nicole Franzel. Great player, but I do not like the way that she goes about winning. It's
Yeah.
not fun to watch, right? But you can't take away from, for me, what Vince is doing and how he's gotten himself out of trouble multiple times and
Yeah.
has been able to bring people back in multiple times. That is a talent.
It is. And like he is in a spot where, yeah, certain people might put him up depending on what the next HOH cycle is, but a lot of people wouldn't. And that includes people who have multiple reasons to be mad at him, like
Mhm.
including people like Lauren, who has been a final two, and yet she continues to get betrayed like time and time again.
Yes.
So we are in a situation right now where it felt like earlier this afternoon, most of everybody in the house kind of figured out what they were doing. And it seemed like, okay, Ava probably doesn't need to campaign. But okay, here's where some of the wheels start to turn a little bit. And we'll begin with Keanu. And I know that Keanu is not necessarily the most biggest catalyst for house discussion or vote changing here.
Yeah.
He did have this idea, and he's had this ever since last night, that he feels like there's a way to keep Kelley, and he's trying to find ways to make it happen. Like he told her today, it's like, okay, Kelley, I will never vote against you. Keanu is really going on his honesty and integrity era at this point, and he's just sort of like, I
Sure.
really want to make sure, I've had your back. I'm going to continue to have your back. And like he's tried to rally and figure out some other numbers that could be for her.
Yeah, it's just not a thing that's going to end up happening for you, my dude. I know you're trying here, but
Yeah.
like people do not want to keep Kelley in the house.
No, like, okay, here's the real of everything. Like, we'll talk a little bit more about individual
Yeah.
conversations, but I think the reality here is that Will, Morgan, Rachel, Ashley, they control the vote because those are the judges who
Yes.
can vote. Vince votes in the bit of a tiebreaker.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that they are all going to go and have their own sort of separate conversations and think about things. But I do not believe there is much of a chance that they're actually going to vote separately because that means making people in your own alliance mad. And like, that's the whole reason Vince didn't put up Rachel. He didn't want to do that right
And
now.
it's the whole point of having an alliance that you have the votes to be
Yeah.
able to choose what you want to have happen in the game so that your alliance can get far enough that then you guys can battle it out. That's the whole point. So
Yeah.
it would be very weird if at this point they all just decided to do other things because then you're basically breaking your alliance.
Yeah, and that's a really risky thing to do before we're even at the jury phase of the
Yes.
game. But
Yeah.
all right, since you've already talked a little bit about praising Vince's game, and I think this is another example of what he does that's so effective, but also kind of infuriating at the same
So
time.
infuriating.
He had this conversation with Lauren, and he told her, "I will do whatever you want to do if it's Katherine versus Kelley, because, I put you in this situation, Lauren. It's my fault this HOH went like this. So, I want to give you the power. He's saying this knowing full well that obviously Lauren wants to keep Katherine. This is not like giving her the ability to make the hardest choice ever.
Vince can't vote. This is like such a, like, unless there's a tie, he's
Yes.
a HOH. Like, this is just an empty, oh yeah, man, I'll do whatever it takes to help you. She's got my support. Okay, well, you put her on the block and you can't vote. So what kind of support does anybody really have?
He just says a whole lot of nothing, and it works because he understands the house dynamics. It's sort of like
Yes.
him telling Lauren that, there are situations where he would want to get rid of Ava if she's there and he has to break a tie. But it's easy for him to say this because he knows the odds of this happening are slim to none. It's like he's never going to be in this situation. So you can say whatever you want
Yes.
when you know that it's like, okay, I'm not actually going to have to do it.
No, he's not going to have to do it. And yeah, it is easy for him to say so.
Yeah, but here's another reason, though, I think why Vince's wheels are even turning a little bit about Ava, because here's the thing. In addition to Ava putting him on the block, like, Ava keeps giving him reasons to want her out of the game. So one of the narratives that's been out there this week is there's been a lot of talk about, okay, are we going to have a double eviction? And, we know because Julie would tell us that there's
Right.
not one coming this week, but
Right.
they don't know that.
No.
So he's had this conversation to Will and Ava, sort of talking about how he's scared, one of Vince's favorite words, in the event a double eviction is coming. And Ava, unprompted, just says, well, you should be. And then Will is just sitting there, like, frustrated, like, what are you doing? Why are you saying this?
Yeah, like, I understand that Ava's upset about what's going on. She's feeling, betrayed and angry and all of these types of things, but she still is on the block right now. The
Yeah.
Blockbuster hasn't been played yet. You can't really be saying this unless you're really sure you have the votes to stay. And well, it's likely she's going to stay. No one should ever be that confident,
No.
because once you start behaving like that, to one or two people, it's enough to change an entire vote. We have seen it almost every single season. Someone with confidence who ends up going out the door with $10,000 in their pocket.
That catching strays. No, it's a situation here where the other part of this is, it's one thing to say it to Vince, but it's another thing to also say it while Will is present. And yeah, Will and Ava have been close a lot, but
Yep.
we've talked about this where Will is one of the more rational people in the house. And I think Will really does think a lot about things. I feel like he's kind of growing increasingly frustrated with Ava because she can be a little bit erratic. She's not working all the time with the same people Will is. I think it's very telling that Will has not told her about the Judges Alliance, and he's kind of
Yeah.
keeping her at arm's length when it comes to that.
Absolutely. Relationships change in this game, and you have to be adaptable. And that is one of the things that Will is doing the best. That even
Yes.
though, he has had other relationships, he's had this relationship with Ava, things are changing with Ava. She is moving towards Katherine and Lauren a little more. She is speaking out in front of the HOH while she is on the block.
Yeah.
Those things have to be really frustrating for Will,
Yeah.
because they are close, and that makes her even more of a target, which then can blow back on him.
I just still am so impressed by Will. Like, I want him to do more things, but it's becoming more and more clear this guy is like the vault of Big Brother, where he doesn't spread gossip, spread information. He's just such an unbelievable listener, and like there is
Yes.
so much value in that.
Yeah, and there is value in being sort of the collector of secrets as well, and not spreading them around and keeping them to yourself. Information is power. So he's not giving away information that doesn't need to be given away. And that's an incredibly powerful spot to be in.
Okay, let's talk now about something that when I first saw it happening, it felt like it was absolutely crazy. Okay, Rachel telling Morgan that they should potentially keep Kelley this week over Katherine.
So weird, man. It's so weird.
I'm trying to sort of wrap my head around why Rachel would think this or see this, because at first it was easy to react to this and be like, okay, well, maybe Rachel doesn't know about some of the things Kelley has been saying about her, embarrassing her in front of her family, stuff we've talked about. But Ava seemingly has told Rachel some of this. We got like a tiny snippet of it, but like the feed's cut off before we could hear the whole thing. So, but Rachel's seemingly aware of some of it.
It's also a bit weird because Kelley has won a pile of blockbusters, you know? Like
Yeah.
she's not someone that's won nothing. And just because she hasn't won HOH yet, I mean, she's very capable of winning a lot. And that isn't someone then that you want to see her maybe win an HOH. That's not a good time.
No, especially because you never know what she's gonna do. Like she is a total loose cannon within this game. Okay, this is the only tinfoil hat I have about all this.
Mhm.
Is just that Rachel probably realizes that okay, Catherine's not as erratic, and maybe Catherine can get a number or two on her side. I know that Kelley's not very good at the game, and I know that Kelley's always gonna be a target, and Rachel, from what we have seen this season, she can be petty, but she can also be very mature and sort of be like, okay, I don't like what this person said about me, but if it's better for my game to keep her, then I'm just going to keep her.
Yeah, if she's going to be away from her family, she is in a different spot now. Like,
Yes.
I love petty Rachel. I'm petty. She petty. I love it.
Mhm.
But she is in a different spot now. She has a family and she's looking to bring home the money. And being petty doesn't bring home the money. It never does.
So, what Rachel has done since telling Morgan this is that she has gone to Kelley, and it really felt like she was sort of giving her a big brother test in a way, where she was sort of feeling out, like, okay, Kelley, what sort of game do you respect? And Kelley responded, oh, I like somebody who makes big moves. And then, Rachel's trying to get her to elaborate. And then Kelly's like, yeah, like when Mickey put Jimmy on the block, which is a truly bizarre thing to say to Jimmy's number one ally in the game.
Yeah, but Kelley likes to poke the bear. That's what her game is. She likes to stir the pot, poke
Yeah.
the bear, make everybody upset. She's just here to cause crazy chaos. Let's just go home.
Please, because I could see that Rachel might interpret this eventually as being like, okay, well, I'm a big player. I make big moves. Maybe
Right.
if Kelley is on the jury, she's going to want to vote for me. But I just don't trust Kelley in that way, that I think Kelley would just be petty.
Nobody knows where Kelley's vote is going to end up. She is the worst person to put on the jury. You do not want Kelley
No.
there. You cannot count on her vote.
No, 1,000,000%. You just can't count on her vote. I mean, hopefully Rachel just has enough discussions, comes to her senses about this, because as we said earlier, I don't imagine that the judges are going to be voting separate ways. So it's like if they talk to Ashley or Will about it and they're like, no, 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 like I just don't envision a situation where they just all kind of split up over Kelley of all people.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So there is a little bit of looking ahead that is going on. And this is something, speaking of Kelley and Katherine, I found kind of interesting, which is that Ashley and Will are kind of already plotting a little bit and talking about this idea that, okay, let's say Kelley ends up leaving, Katherine ends up staying.
Yeah.
Can we then just sort of deposit the idea, I'm guessing kind of slyly because they don't want to blow up their alliance, that Morgan was kind of flip-flopping on what to do, that she was having a hard time deciding, just to make sure that if Katherine gets into power, that it's like, okay, she has a target and it's not somebody who is one of us.
Yeah, which is a good idea. And it's a good way to start moving throughout the game. Like, we're at Wednesday now.
Yeah.
Everybody does need to start looking past past this eviction and to who might be the next HOH and start planning that out so that if one of the people you are not working with is in power, you're able to wiggle your way out of it. It's the time. Start planting those seeds.
Yeah, and it was another, I think, really good reminder that, it was still way too early to do it this week, but Vincent Morgan do need to be thinking about when's the right time to flip on these judges, because it's just like, okay, if Ashley and Will are already planting seeds against Morgan or thinking about it, it's like they clearly don't want to go to Final 5, Final 6 with you, so you need to jump at a time you have numbers on the other side.
Well, maybe. They may just be doing that just in case they're in a sticky situation. But if they're not in a sticky situation, then they're not rolling over on Morgan.
I think it's something where, we'll see how it plays out with the next HOH. Like, there's still so many
Right.
different scenarios that can happen with that.
Yeah.
But okay, so here we go, the latest chapter of the Rachel Keanu saga, and I'm gonna go ahead
Beep,
and
beep, 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 beep,
this
beep, beep, beep. Okay, here's the news.
we are ready to get hurt again, or at least that's how I feel like I'm ready to get hurt again. So
Oh yeah, you're ready to get hurt
I'm
again?
ready to
'Cause
get hurt again.
yesterday you were all like, these two crazy kids, they have worked it out.
I still feel like I'm more optimistic now that they've worked it out, and this is why I'm going to get my heart broken, and it's just going to be my fault. And you're going to tell me, Matt, I warned you, and I'm going to be like, you did. I'm sorry. I still fell for it.
I hope that I'm wrong and that they have worked it out. I would like to be in the same corner as you are.
You're being smart. Okay, so here's a little bit of what's happened here. So last night, Keanu apparently, like we said, he's in his honesty era now.
Yes.
So he apologized profusely hundreds of times to Rachel last night. He basically admitted at one point that, yeah, you know what, I did actually talk to Vince about getting you nominated. That actually did happen.
And that's the right thing to do. It's like he watched our video yesterday where I was like, dude, my brother in Christ, you need to just straight up go to Rachel and own everything that you have done. Say you're sorry so you can start on fresh ground together.
It's funny you mentioned my brother in Christ because it actually did feel like she was Keanu's priest and he walked into a confessional because was just like, I did all this. I'm sorry. I know you won't forget, but I hope that you can forgive. And he laid it on. So like Rachel, of course, was really mad. She yelled at him for a little bit,
And that's fair. You know, if you're gonna go in, you're gonna be like, listen, I lied to you. These are the things I did. I ran the bus over you. You have to take what's gonna come so that you can then get to the forgiveness.
Well, that's the thing. And Rachel's not a doormat. And Rachel's somebody who she's just like, I'm gonna make sure I don't get hurt again with all of this. So she's still very, very wary.
Yes.
But this conversation happens. Keanu doesn't get the full reassurance that he wants. So this morning, Keanu wakes up and it really feels like he's in full, I'm going to try to make this right mode. Like, for example, Rachel's been complaining that he's not cleaning enough. So he gets up, starts cleaning almost everything, has another conversation with Rachel where he apologizes to her again, but he also indicates, you know what, Rachel, I think I've had a big light bulb that has gone off in my head here. This is one of the first times I feel like he's actually like legitimately genuine and I fully believe him.
All right.
Here is some of what he said. He said, I have now kind of realized that the way in which you are believing in me or struggling to believe in me is the same way that I have been acting towards Vince, where it's like, I actually know where you're coming from because I keep giving this guy all of these chances and he continues to hurt me. And I continue to be like, well, why do I want you to continue to hurt me? Like, what's wrong with me?
Here's the thing. I think most of us in life have been in a situation like this, whether it's grade school, high school, adult life, where there's just that one person that we really think, man, we could be friends. Like you meet them a couple times and you're like, I feel like we could be friends forever. Like, absolutely. I feel that connection. The other person's like, I just met you, bro. Like, I'm not sure about it. I'm kind of on iffy ground, but you're still in the position of like, man, we have so much in common. This could totally work out if they would just like pay attention to me more and I'll tell them this and I'll give them this. And then it starts to freak out the other person where they're like, man, I thought I could be friends with this person, but they're laying it on a little bit thick sort of thing. And then it turns into this. And that's what this kind of feels like, where he really felt like Vince was someone he could connect to and Vince just never felt the same way.
No, and I think he just feels really, really silly about it now. And I think he's opened his eyes a little bit and was kind of like, okay, a lot of what Rachel was telling me was probably right. And I feel like he judged her a lot as a TV character and a person he knew from watching clips online because he didn't even watch the full seasons. And now he has indicated, and he has said this separately from Rachel, but then also to us. So it's like, okay, so we really actually know that he's speaking to us as a viewer. So I think it's honest that he really recognized how emotional she was yesterday towards him. And it was like, okay, this is real. This is authentic. She's not just putting this on for the sake of TV. Like, I didn't know if I believed her before. I actually do now.
This is the thing.
Yes.
I think he has done everything right in this whole scenario. He has apologized to her. He's
Yes.
taken his lickings. He's tried to do some of the things. He's put action into it. I'm somebody whose love language is like
Hmm.
action and doing little like things of service. Like I really, if I was like, oh man, no one ever cleans up, and I woke up, my kitchen was clean, that act of service for me, oh my God, I love you. You're the best sort of thing,
Yes.
right? And then on top of it, now he's having this very honest, introspective look at himself, at how she really felt about something, that this isn't just a game, that her feelings were truly hurt
Yeah.
by the things that he was doing. And he had that conversation privately with us, the viewers. It all feels like he has taken all the right steps to break all of our hearts when they end up having another fight because he goes to Vince again.
It's so true. I think the thing is, the reason, okay, here's why I'm delusional, just like Keanu is often delusional, is that he hasn't done it with Vince yet. He hasn't gone and spilled it all to Vince yet. And I'm saying this, and all this just happened hours ago, so I'm probably wrong.
The problem is that this is the Big Brother house and it's not life. So he's
Yeah.
stuck in the house with Vince, who he's having a dysfunctional friendship with, where he's like, man, we could be besties. And Vince is like, I don't know you, and kind of like moving in different directions. And it's just such a dysfunctional relationship that he's really unable to just look at it for what it is. But if he was outside of the house, he would look at Vince and realize that this just isn't it, and this friendship isn't working, and he has to let it go. But because they're in Big Brother, and on top of it, it's a game, he's stuck and he's just spiraling out. And we've seen this so many times in the house.
Mhm.
I would be like this, and this is why I would never play.
I think Rachel will try to move forward. I don't think she's necessarily going to forget about any of this. I think she will try to forgive Keanu, but she's never going to fully trust him again. That's just my feeling, just because if I was Rachel and playing the game, it's different than life, like you said. Like,
Right.
I would not be able to trust somebody who has lobbied for me to go on the block multiple times, like including this late in the game.
Yeah, he has started to do everything right. He's on the right path.
Yeah.
It's going to take more than a day.
Yeah, like one thing I am sort of thinking about and trying to figure out, okay, where's Rachel's head really at with all of this? It's this goes back to, oh, does she want to keep Kelley? Because she knows that Keanu and Kelley are kind of close. And if Keanu has any influence there, could that help her in the event Kelley does win HOH? I'm sure Rachel's thought about it, but I also feel like she knows that Kelley's just too erratic, and you really can't put stock that even Keanu, like the king of erratic, is not going to be able to, like, whisper things in her ear to convince her of much of anything.
He is not Littlefinger. He controls
No.
nothing, and nobody controls Kelley. Kelley is going to do whatever she wants. Nobody's going to be in her ear. They'll try, but it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, now Keanu has talked a little bit with Kelley about his conversations with Rachel, but not the full shebang. He hasn't given everything away, but he has sort of talked about how he feels really bad on a personal level for causing this with Rachel, and how, he knows that she's probably going to win, but he wants to be here with honor and morals and all of this other stuff that he has decided that he cares about now. And so, like, that is what is guiding him.
This is very hard because whenever we're watching shows like Survivor,
Yes.
Big Brother, whatever it is, where people are all of a sudden like, I have integrity, I'm here to win with morals and honesty. It's like, this is Big Brother or Survivor. Like,
Yes.
it is backstabbing. This is the house built on lies. Like, you can't really get through the game like that. And I know there's gonna be people being like,
Yeah.
yes, you can. Yes, you can. Fine. Yes, you can, but not really. Like, even the people that have gone through with integrity and honesty have lied to other people
Yes.
to get there. Maybe they didn't lie to their circle, but they lied to other people. You can't really get through the game without telling a lie.
Yeah, the idea of a clean game is like totally impossible, and it's just like it's something nobody should really strive for, and it's
And
just
that's
like,
okay.
yeah, like Keanu will set himself up for failure if he genuinely believes this, but so would anyone else. Like, this is not just ragging on Keanu in this instance.
Yeah, nobody's going to come out of this game like where us, the audience, are going to be like, oh, you lied to people. You must be a terrible person. No, you're on a lying
Yeah.
game.
I feel like we all have a lot more things that we are being concerned about than whether or not somebody lies. But
Yes.
okay, speaking of lying here, this is the last thing. This one's kind of interesting, is that Lauren denied to Vince that she has had conversations with Katherine and Ava about
Mhm.
potentially having a final three. And, we can all argue it's like, okay,
Good for her.
yeah, it's something where maybe she still wants to go to the inn with Vince. Like, we don't know. Like, maybe this is a side option. Maybe it's the number one option for her. But it's all kind of hard to know. But yeah, Lauren, good on you for starting to play a little bit of your own game.
Yeah, I think she's just been so tied to Vince for so long, and she has been done dirty by Vince a bunch of times. And while I think he has smoothed things over, I think she realizes she needs to keep her options open. So
Yes.
telling Vince about this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't hurt him or her or their relationship together. He's moved into a different space with different people, and I think she just kind of knows it at this point.
Yeah, and I would hope that Lauren knows if she goes to the inn with Katherine. I know Lauren is frustrating to watch, but I think Lauren wins the game, and I think she
I
beats.
agree.
Yeah, like I think there's a chance she even beats Ava. I mean, Ava's better socially, but depending on how many comps Lauren wins, it's like never say never in that scenario.
Absolutely.
But that's where we are coming out of this edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. Let's turn it over to you guys. Blockbuster sabotage, thumbs up, thumbs down. Like, let us know in the comments. And also, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and you can support us further by joining our Patreon. That link is in the description. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate that, and we will see you here next time.